Yo, what's good, peasants? My name is JB, and I'm here with yet another draft analysis. This time for the BBL, or Bandless Battlers League. And yeah, this is another Wi-Fi upload required league, so go check out the links to everyone's channels down in the description. A lot of cool coaches, and this should be a really fun league. So I'm actually dipping my toes into something I've never done before on this channel. For those of you who don't know, the BBL is like a full-on UBERS league. Like, there's very few things in this league that aren't allowed. Like, there's only a few Arceus forms that aren't allowed, like water, steel, fairy, ground. Like, a lot of Arceus forms are allowed. Mega Mewtwo, or Mega Mewtwo's are banned, but regular Mewtwo's allowed. Like, Groudon, Rayquaza are allowed. Obviously not Mega or Red Orb, but like, there's just everything. Lugia, Palkia, Zekrom, like, pretty much most like box legends are allowed. So yeah, lots of broken mons allowed. So like I said, full on UBERS draft. And how it worked, it was fully points based, where you had 120 points to spend. You could do so however you wish. I believe the minimum requirement was 8 Pokemon. Might have been 10. I can actually it was required to draft 10 Pokemon. So yeah, you had to have 10 mons. So 120 points to do that however you please. There's also an UBERS rule where the highest tier was 24 points. You could draft one Uber 24 point mon, or you could draft a 23, 20, or 22 point Uber and grab a 19 or 18 point Uber, or you can grab two 21 point Ubers and below. So there are a few ways you get multiple Ubers, but I really didn't know like what was even good in this sort of format, because like I said, I've never done an Uber style league before. The most I've done is like an S tier league, like the PCL, where there's some like lower end Ubers allowed, but like I said, pretty much everything's allowed in this league. So I didn't even really know what was like necessarily a good pick. So what I did was like, I just was looking through the really, high tier Ubers and stuff like that, just looking through and seeing like what I thought would be just a fun mon to use, and I stumbled across the mon. Decided to go ahead and make my first pick. I believe I was 7th overall. I can check that as well real quick before we get started. I believe I was 7 out of 16. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I was 7 out of 16, right after Gypsy King. So yeah, I was getting sniped by the goat all the time. Feels bad, man. And blue, perfect blue. So I was getting sniped by some pretty good players, which feels bad, man, but it's just jokes. But yeah, with my first pick, I just decided to go ahead and grab a mon that just looked like it had a really fun move pool and could do some really cool things, and I landed on Palkia. So Palkia is just a ridiculous special wall breaker, man. Like, 150 base special attack is out of this effing world, and it's 22 points, so I could get another Uber with this if I wanted to, and in my mind, it just seemed like the most fun mon to use. Like, this thing's stats are absolutely disgustingly broken. Unfortunately, its only ability is pressure. I mean, telepathy is a thing too, but pressure's fine, but it's not the best. But does it really need a better ability? Like, pressure's a great ability, don't get me wrong, but would rather it had like a mold breaker ability like Reshiram or Zekrom, but we can live with pressure, honestly. But yeah, Palkia is just absolutely filthy in terms of being a special wall breaker. Water Dragon type, base 150 special attack, very usable 120 physical attack as well. Base 100 speed is phenomenal. 100 defense, 120 spadef, 90 HP is its lowest stat, excuse me. But yeah, Palkia is absolutely incredible in terms of just raw wall breaking, as well as the potential to just win games with like a niche Z heal block set, which heal block in and of itself is decent, but getting that +2 special attack boost is disgusting, which is why I decided to go ahead and make this one of my Z users. We had 30 separate points to for our Z users, and decided to just go ahead and make my Uber my disgusting special wall breaker as a user, because I mean, why the hell not? It gets any coverage it would need to just kill random things that would switch into it. Like, the only thing it's really missing is flash cannon. Like, outside of that, it gets special coverage for pretty much everything else that it would need. I believe it does get Iron Tail to hit incoming fairy. No, it doesn't even get Iron Tail. So that's the only thing it's really missing, is good still coverage. But yeah, other than that, it gets everything it needs to just deal with whatever. It doesn't get poison really either to deal with fairies, but I mean, hey, we have an entire rest of our draft to help deal with fairies, which is what we're going to do with our next pick. So I had a couple of, other Ubers in mind. I wanted to grab an Uber Steel type. Like, I was really thinking hard and long, which is funny for a few reasons, about Aegislash. Like, I really wanted to grab Aegislash with Palkia, because that just seemed fun, but unfortunately Aegislash did get sniped, so I was debating between Genesect and another mon that isn't an Uber, but I hear it's still pretty freaking good. I decided to just go ahead and grab Celesteela with my second round pick. Yeah, I managed to grab Celesteela with the 9th pick in round 2, snake format obviously, so not complaining at all about pairing Palkia with the goddamn Celesteela. Celesteela, for those of you, or as most of you I'm sure know, is one of the best, absolute best Pokemon in standard Draft League format, and it still, I think, is going to do incredibly well in this Ubers format because it still does all the things that Celesteela normally does, like just having an incredible bulk, just all around 101 in both in SpDef as well as 103 in FizzDef. 97 HP is very solid. It can get beast boost in 4 stats, so it can just, live hits for days, either physically or specially. It can, of course, just set up and win games with autotomized sets, or it could just annoy the fuck out of you with, like, Sub-Leech Seed. Or it could just have, like, niche coverage options, or it could just heavy slam through everything. Like, Celesteela is incredible. It pairs very well with Palkia, starting that Fairy Dragon Steel Core, of course. Also, Palkia taking those fire moves that Celesteela doesn't necessarily like, and then having one of the best fairy switch-ins in the entire game for Palkia is just incredible. So, really big no-brainer there to go ahead and grab Celesteela. So, next pick, I wanted to go ahead and get something with a little bit more speed, just a nice little, faster mon than base 100, as well as just another incredible wall breaker. So, I decided to go ahead and grab a physical wall breaker to pair with Palkia's incredible special wall breaking abilities, and I just decided to go ahead and grab Mega Gallade. It's rare to take a Mega this early in a draft, but with just the raw power that exists between these 3 Pokemon, it seemed fine to me to just go ahead and grab Mega Gallade to pair with Palkia and Celesteela, with, Gallade having that incredible, base 165 physical attack that just kills everything, just runs through teams. Good speed at base 110, being faster than Palkia is nice, and then good SpDef as well to take hits, just take random special hits outside of, like, I don't know, boosted air slashes or Z hurricanes and stuff like that. But yeah, Mega Gallade just it doesn't really fit the best with these 2 Pokemon in terms of type synergy, but who fucking cares when, like I said, these 3 Pokemon just literally don't die and then kill all the things. So fuck it. Mega Gallade, of course, fantastic setup option. Swords Dance and or bulk up even in winning games. Drain Punch is nice to have, just for passive recovery, or not passive recovery, just just recovery in general. It's nice to have access to that. It's also a niche like Wish Passer if absolutely needs to, I believe. It doesn't get Healing Wish, whereas or Heal Bell, where Guard of War does, but it does get Wish, which is cool. It's also like a niche Thunder Wave or Will-O-Wisp option, as well as Toxic, so it can run some sneaky status moves. It gets priority in Shadow Sneak, which is also nice. Fast taunt user, knockoff spam, stuff like that. But yeah, Mega Gallade, obviously incredible wall breaker, and just an all-around swell guy. Next up, I wanted something that paired well with Celesteela defensively, and what better than Rotom Heat? Because I mean, it's a Rotom Heat. I wanted something to take fire hits, just to take a little bit of pressure off Palkia, and I needed an electric switch in, and Rotom Heat just fit the bill perfectly. You typically see Rotom Heat and Celesteela drafted together quite often, so I thought, why not? It's a little bit of a reach, grabbing a 10-point mon round 4, but it fit the team so well that I felt that it was fine to just go ahead and reach a little bit to secure the the synergy there. Levitate, being another ground switch in, which is nice. Can never have too many things that resist Earthquake. Can never have too many Earthquake switch-ins is the proper nomenclature I was going for there. Is nomenclature the right word? Fuck if I know. Why am I trying to use these big ass words? But it's a Rotom. It's been a long time since I've drafted a Rotom, honestly. I can't remember the last time I did. I think it might have been a monotype league I did like 2+ years ago. It's been a long time since I've used a Rotom, and honestly, there's not a whole lot to Rotoms usually. Like typically, they're just bulky, especially on this sort of team. It's typically going to be like a more bulky Will-O-Wisp / Defog / just annoying piece of crap with Volt Switch and Overheat. So it's just going to do Rotom things. It's going to pivot around. It's going to switch into the things it can switch into. It might occasionally, you know, trick something, a Choice Scarf or something like that. But for the most part, it's just going to Volt Switch. It's going to Willow. And it's going to be annoying and do cool things. So next up, I thought, you know, I don't have enough wall breaking on this team. I also don't have a ground type. I don't have rocks yet. Let me just go ahead and get a little bit more power. And I just decided to grab Mamoswine because why the hell not? Mamoswine is obviously just another just incredible, just wall-breaking machine. 130 physical attack, one of the absolute best offensive dual stabs in the game in Ice and Ground. Access to Ice Shard for priority. It's a solid rock setter. I mean, some people think that, like, it's terrible to run rocks on Mamoswine. Why would you ever do that? But I mean, like, it's a good rock setter, so why wouldn't you run rocks on Mamoswine? Just really hard-hitting Earthquakes, great ability in Thick Fat, solid ability in Oblivious as well. And Snow Cloak if your opponent has, you know, Hail, so, I mean, maybe I can get away with that. I don't know if it's allowed. It's allowed in most leagues, but recently I've been running into a few leagues where Snow Cloak and Sandveil are banned, but, I mean, whatever. But like I said, dude, incredible offensive dual stab with, you know, Ice Ground, Earthquake, Ice Shard, Icicle Crash. Good knockoff user if it can fit it on its moveset 1 week. And, you know, Stone Edge and stuff for coverage is solid. And then, you know, it's a niche freeze dry as well. Coming off base 70 special attack. If something's 4 times weak to it, it's going to do a decent amount of damage. Very good fit for the squad. And, yeah, it's the ground type for the team and provides more priority, which is never a bad thing. Next up, I was really debating between 2 Mons here, but you'll see why. I was debating between 2 Mons, but in the end I decided to go with the one I went with simply because I can make it as a user to pair with Palkia, where the other one I could not make as a user of Palkia. So we have Alolan Persian. The other Mon I was thinking of was, of course, Silvally, just to provide another defog option for the team, but I was, you know, weighing the importance of having another defogger versus having a good Z user to pair with Palkia, and I felt like having a better Z user to pair with Palkia was a little bit more important than, you know, just another defogger in Silvally. So I would decide to go a Persian simply because I could have access to Z Parting Shot, which is nice because Palkia doesn't have really any access to recovery. I don't believe he gets Roost. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of Z move it gets. It doesn't get Roost, but I'm sure there's some sort of Z move it gets that can bring it back to full HP, but that's, you know, taking away from Palkia being able to hit things. So I thought Z Parting Shot with a Mon that doesn't have reliable recovery would be better than just having more defog. I can get defog later. So that's what I decided to do. Grab Alolan Persian, as, you know, Z Parting Shot is phenomenal. Healing up whatever you switch into, as well as lowering your opponent's stats. So that's very nice to have. Fur Coat is an incredible ability, doubling the stings. Honestly, mediocre defense to decent levels. So Fur Coat, incredible ability, and underrated nasty plot option if you can, you know, clean late game with that sort of set. Has stuff like Thunderbolt, Technician boosted water pulses, and Icy Winds can always be fun. Does get access to like a knockoff, Gunk Shot, and Player Off as well if you need that. Power Gem if it hits something like a Charizard or whatever. So yeah, Foul Play as well to not really prevent setup, but like discourage setup, I guess. Dark Pulse is nice as well. I think I mentioned Fake Out, but Fake Out is cool too. Priority, Flinching, so yeah, just cool shenanigans. Really good bulky pivot Mon, and again, paired very well with Palkia to, you know, keep it alive. So I mentioned I needed defog, right? I needed another defogger since I didn't take Silvally. Well, I didn't have a fairy yet either, so why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone and grab Florges? Yeah. So my fairy Dragon Steel Core is honestly absolutely filthy in this league. Palkia, Celesteela, Florges, like, my god, that's pretty disgusting if you ask me. But Florges rather provides wish support for Palkia, which is nice, as well as providing that defogger that I missed out on in Silvally. Ability wise, Florges is trash, but it's whatever. It doesn't really care about having bad abilities. It has great bulk. 154 Spit F is phenomenal, so you can afford to, you know, just max out. If you run max Phys Def Bold, your special defense is still higher by like a couple points, so that's nice. And with that base 75 speed, it's faster than a lot of other, you know, wall-type Pokemon, a lot of other, you know, Cleric-y sort of things. And it's a very underrated Calm Mind option, because this thing can just win games sometimes if you get up a couple Calm Minds. It has 112 special attack and a decent move pool to Pair with that, you know, with like Giga Drain, Psychic, as well as, you know, just Moonblast for stab. Like, this thing could do some damage if you let it get set up. But other than that, you know, it's a fantastic cleric, it's a great defogger, and that's exactly what I needed for the team, so it made sense to just go ahead and grab Florges. Yeah. Honestly, I've blown through quite a bit of my budget at this point. I'm not going to do the math, but I do know I need to start, you know, slowing down spending. I'm going to have to grab, you know, a couple more low tier mons than I would like, but, you know, there's some cool stuff in the low tiers, so I'm honestly fine with blowing my budget on just having, like, these 7 mons. Like, are you kidding me? Like, look at this team, dude. It's ridiculous. That's not to say we don't have some threats still coming, so. Next up, I needed another Stealth Rocker. Because with what we have right now, our only rocker is Mamoswine, and it's going to be difficult to really find good Stealth Rockers down low, because that's what we were finding is pretty tough. So I decided to, again, spend a little more points than I would like to get another reliable rocker, as well as another reliable pivot, as well as another just fat mon. So I decided to grab Yuxi. And I did snipe a couple of people on this pick, so that's always feels good, man. Yuxi is my personal, like, I think it's honestly my favorite design-wise of the Lake Trio. I don't know why that matters, but Yuxi is just another just incredibly fat mon. Base 75s in HP in both attacks, 130 in both defenses, and then 95 speed. Again, similarly to Florges, makes it faster than a lot of other, you know, walls, which is nice. As well as, you know, being even faster than Florges, so it's even faster than another thing that's faster than most walls, which is also on my team, which is nice. Levitate's a great ability, giving me another ground switch in, which is solid. And then in terms of like moves pulls, like I already mentioned, this thing does get access to Stealth Rock, taking, you know, Rock Smasher off of Mamoswine, as well as access to U-Turn for Pivity. So we have even more pivot. We have all 3 forms of it with Volt Switch, U-Turn, and Parting Shot, so that's nice. And this thing also gets a great move pool. Like, it's a Lake Trio mon, it gets pretty much everything it needs. Fire coverage, grass coverage, ice coverage, electric coverage. That's another one that gets, excuse me, it gets Memento as well, which is a very solid ability. Dual screens, like, Yuxi can do pretty much everything it needs. Like, it's a great glue mon, it can just fit on a team and fill a role most weeks. It also gets access to Heal Bell, so it's another cleric option. Doesn't get Wish, but I don't think it gets Wish. No, it doesn't get Wish, but that's fine when it gets Heal Bell, and just, yeah, provides that sort of support for the team. Great fit with the squad, providing Memento, which is always fun to just Memento into something like Mega Gallade, set up a Swords Dance, and sweep teams. Next up, I wanted another hazard remover, and I didn't really have a normal type that I wanted since I didn't get Silvally. So I decided to go with Old Faithful and grab Komala. I love Komala. Komala won me a semifinals game once upon a time against my boy Brendan. And for 5 points, I feel like it's honestly kind of a steal, because Komala is a very, very good Pokemon, especially in League format. Great status absorber with Comatose, meaning you can't, like, if I'm worried about a Toxic or a Thunder Wave or whatever, I can just go Komala and not care about it. If someone has a Sporemon, I can just always go Komala. It's just fantastic in that regard. Provides rapid spin support for the team, so if I really need to keep my hazards up in a matchup, I can do that. As well as just, you know, hitting incredibly hard with base 115 attack. Like, that's an underrated thing about Komala, is it just hits so incredibly hard. It's not the bulkiest thing in the world, with, you know, only base 65 HP and physical defense, but 95 speed F is solid. It's pretty slow, but this thing with base 115 attack, just underrated. Like, it just hits hard, man. Stuff like Earthquake, Knockoff, Play Rough, Shadow Claw, Superpower, U-Turn even, so it's another U-Turn option, as well as Woodhammer, which just does more damage than you would think, like, just randomly. As well as the, you know, the niche Sleep Talk Last Resort sets, which are always fun. It's another Wish user, but with base 65 HP, it's not exactly a great Wish user, but the option's there if need be. So yeah, that's Komala. Very reliable, just solid normal type with rapid spin, and yeah. Really hard hitter as well when, you know, if the need be. Next up on the list, we decided to go ahead and get ourselves another rock setter, as well as a mon that can honestly just win some games sometimes, and that's Crustle. So a little bit of a niche pick with Crustle, but when you have both Parting Shot and Memento support for this thing, you might be able to sneak in a cheeky Stone Edge sweep or two. Or not Stone Edge sweep, cheeky Shell Smash sweep or two. So maybe if we could pull that off, that'd be nice. But otherwise, provides us another very reliable Stealth Rocker, as well as a Spikes user, as well as another just knockoff spammer, and just an all-around solid mon. Fantastic physical defense, base 125, and good attack as well, base 105, 70, HP solid, and otherwise its bulk is pretty trash. Its speed is not that good either, but It does provide another rocker, which was something the team needed, as well as, you know, that niche Shell Smash Austin. I've said niche like 34 times in this video, and I apologize. I've been working on that. Like, I really have been working on, you know, not saying and like repeating myself as often, but man, I'm stupid, so I do apologize for me being me. But yeah, like I said, this thing, just another stealth rock option was the team desperately needed. Which is, you know, pretty cool, because another thing that's cool about it, I should say, is I kind of, you know, am merging two playstyles of two of my good friends, Pat and Shay. We'll see why with Shay here in a second, but Pat loves Crustle and he loves himself some Parting Shot and Memento. So I didn't like realize I was doing like it. I did it that way until after the draft, but I got some definite Cowpat influences on this team with Yuxi, Persian, and Crustle. So yeah, moving on to our next to last pick. At this point, I'm basically out of you know, points to spin. I have 5 left and 2 mons left to spin, or 5 points with 2 potential roster spots left to fill. So I need a grass type. That's one thing I really need. I was honestly, I was really thinking long and hard about grabbing Bellossom again because it's a fucking Bellossom and I thought it would be fun. But I decided to go with Bellossom's cousin and just grab Vileplume. Because I felt like having a T-Spikes Absorber would be a little bit better than another ground resist. I have, you know, 3 ground immunities already, so I'm not too worried about ground types being an issue. So I feel like having that T-Spikes Absorber would be nice for the team, as well as, you know, just a solid all-around mon, because people underrate the hell out of this thing's bulk. Like, Vileplume is hard to kill sometimes, man. Solid all-around bulk, like I said, 75 HP, 85 defense, 90 spadaf, and very good 110 special attack. Like, you're gonna take a lot from these sludge bombs, man. Ability-wise, you know, Chlorophyll is decent, like, if in a specific matchup, but Effect Support is always annoying, so if you, like, switch this thing in on a U-turn and you, like, get a random paralysis, that's always cool, so if we can manage to pull that off, that'd be nice. In terms of, like, move pool, it does basically the same thing that Bellossom does, only not as cool because it doesn't get Quiver Dance, but it does still get Shrink Stab, which is nice. Sludge Bomb is cool, of course, for Stab. Giga Drain, also for Stab. Does get access to Moonlight, or Moonblast, rather. Toxics that don't miss. Yeah, it's just a solid, bulky, low-tier grass type that fit the squad, giving me a T-Spikes Absorber. So, last but certainly not least, we have 1 point left. And I was looking through the 1 point tier. It became sort of a meme. Everyone was trying to grab a fun 1 point mon at some point, so I wanted to do the same. And there wasn't really anything that I needed on this team. I was looking for a ghost type because that's one thing the team doesn't have, but I wasn't drafting Banette, and unfortunately Oricorio forms were 2 points, so I couldn't grab Oricorio either. They were either 2 or 3 points. Either way, I couldn't afford Oricorio, so it was a little bit unfortunate there, but so there wasn't really anything I could actually do to help the team too much, so I just decided to grab a personal favorite of mine, and that's Walrein. I fucking love Walrein, man. This is the king of the north. This is Jon Snow right here, but Walrein's a really cool mon. It's one of my personal favorite design-wise mons of all time, so that was the main reason I decided to grab it. Like, I wanted an excuse to take a Walrein. Like, when else am I going to be able to take a Walrein in a real league? So that's basically what I did. Thick Fat's a great ability, honestly. Like, find me a better ice type switch in than this thing. It times full resist and has good Spadef and Thick Fat, so that's just incredible. Just having that ice type switch in if need be. Bulk wise, it's actually very good. 110 HP, 90s in both defenses, and it can do some things offensively. 95 base special attack is pretty damn underrated. 80 physical attack, solid. Speeds, meh, but it's pretty cool, right? It's a Walrein. Like, when else am I gonna get to draft a Walrein, man? It's a 1 point mon. Why the hell not? It's decently bulky, good ability. It can do things like Super Fang Toxic. It can click Iron Heads against, like, you know, certain fairies that I don't have good matchups against. Like, you know, man, I don't know. It can do some things. I hope it gets to come to a game at some point, because honestly, like I've said like 4 times, I fucking love this Pokemon. It's fucking cool. It's one of my favorite mons of all time. And hopefully I get the excuse to bring it to a game. But with that being said, that is going to do it for our BBL draft analysis. Let me know what you think of this team in the description below. And go be sure to show all the other coaches love on their draft analysis videos. They should all have gone up today, or the day. I'm pretty sure they all go up today. But who knows? Their links will all be in the description. So yeah, be sure to go check everyone's video out. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and end this here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.